cutting through the frozen ground. The thunder of the glass is the only sound. From the grace of the speed to the crushing weight, in the blink of an eye, we decide our fate. The ice is a battle where the iron reigns. We're breaking the surface and we're breaking chains. Brace for the impact, cross the line. The neutral zone is roaring through the night. IE Sports Radio, ice in our veins, and I'm Karnik and Freddie B, holding the reins. We follow the hunt for the silver cup, where the minor league hungry are stepping up. The college ice is burning in the freeze, and the women of the league bringing giants to their knees. The juniors, the legends, the global stage. We're writing the story on a frozen page. The lamp lights up, red in the winter air. The speed and the power are waiting there. Drop the puck. Brace for the impact, cross the line. The neutral zone is roaring through the night. IE Sports Radio, ice in our veins, and I'm Karnik and Freddie B, holding the reins. The neutral zone.
Good evening and welcome in, hockey fans. You have found your way into the neutral zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. He is Freddie B. I am Adam Karnik. So glad that you are here with us tonight across YouTube and Twitter. Glad that you are watching here live, hanging out with us. What a game one from the Stanley Cup final. We will be reacting to that. We of course have thoughts and opinions on that from Vegas taking that one. We'll have opinions on what Carolina needs to do in game two to fix it, where the holes might be that Vegas exploited. What does Carolina need to change? What does Vegas need to change in a very chaotic first game of the Stanley Cup? But we're not just talking Stanley Cup finals tonight. We've got news and notes from around the league. Vancouver has itself a new head coach, and it's the man that Freddie B recommended for the job.
Yes,
so
sir.
we'll let Freddie take a little bit of a victory lap there and enjoy that. We've got a new format to the All-Star Game festivities in the NHL. They're once again tweaking things. Never let a good thing be left alone. Not that I guess I don't know that they ever had a good thing with the All-Star format, but they're futzing with it again in the NHL. We've also got the results from the IIHF World Championships from over the weekend as well, and PWHL has finished phase one of its expansion draft offseason activities. So we got lots to keep you up with as well. Brian Francione already in the chat room.
Hey, good evening, Brian.
Good evening, Brian. Absolutely. And what a game last night. Before we dive into that, we're going to have a quick word from our sponsors. Of course, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. Be sure to go to planetjerky.net to place your order and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Also, thank you to Vital Apparel, the brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. When you go to vitalapparel.com, be sure to use the promo code IESR at checkout to get 15% off of your order there. And this show is available to you thanks to IE Sports Radio. Be sure to follow along with the station on Twitter or X and YouTube at IE Sports Radio. This show is also available for you on X at IESR Neutral Zone. We are also now available on Instagram at IES sorry, I want to make it, the handle is so new, I still don't have it memorized yet. Sorry, let me get it pulled up. It is IESR_hockey. So you can follow along on the Instagram as well there. And be sure to check out iesportsradio.com. You can watch the show there. You can catch up on everything going on around the station as well. Freddie is also available for you on X. He is at FreddieB_sports. I am at Adam_Karnik. And if you are watching tonight live across Twitter and YouTube, drop us a comment. Let us know where you're watching from, what you thought of Game 1. What are your expectations for Game 2? Who did you think the heroes were? Who did you think the villains were? Who rose to the occasion for Vegas? Who melted into the ice for Carolina? Let's start there. Let's get into Game 1. First of all, you've got arguably the fastest start in 50 years in Game 1 last night. Not even 30 seconds.
You didn't even have a chance to get back from the bathroom before the game started, and you already missed the first goal of the game. Jeez Louise, Adam.
First shot of the Stanley Cup final rings off the post. A post shot. Nikolai Ehlers beats Carter Hart 1-0 Carolina instantaneously. The fans hadn't even sat down. Like you said, some people were still making their way to the seats. Carolina got a second one a little bit later on. But then Vegas started to pour it on. From there. Shea Theodore scores in, again, the first 30 seconds of the second period. That was a historic goal. That was the first time ever in Stanley Cup final history that we had a goal in the first 30 seconds of the first period and a goal in the first 30 seconds of the second period. Then you've got Barbashev, Mr. Shaving Cream himself. The game, that's an old nickname that I've been using.
I say the same thing. Yep.
Mr. Shaving Cream there gets it tied up before William Karlsson then actually gave Vegas the lead. We were tied up in this game at 2, at 3, and at 4 in this game. Back and forth from that point. Jordan Stahl ties it. Brett Howden gives Vegas the lead again before Shane Gostisbehere ties it back up. And then finally, Tomas Hertl gets ultimately the winning goal late in the third period. 3 minutes and change left in regulation. Vegas silences the Caniac crowd, takes Game 1. When you're open, we talk every time we bring up a playoff series. I always bring this up. When you're opening on the road, your mission is take one of the first two. It doesn't matter which one. They're the same thing as far as you're concerned. So Vegas, job done, mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. Yeah.
In an impressive fashion. Vegas was they've been the comeback kids all playoffs long. They've had multiple comebacks of various varieties. They made history last night. The first team in Stanley Cup final history to be on the road, trail by multiple games in game one, and then come back and win game one. The home team was a perfect 55 for 55 in that scenario before last night, and now Vegas cracks the ice there and gets by. Let's start with Vegas. What worked last night for them?
Well, I think they're just the resiliency that they showed. I mean, giving up that first goal, Carter Hart, first shot of the game. I mean, that could have been chalked up to nerves. Nikolai Ehlers with a ripper too, right there to start the scoring. Yeah, I mean, Vegas, their mental toughness. I mean, and look who they have behind the bench, John Tortorella. They're now 24-1 with him leading this team behind the bench. So whatever he's done to motivate these guys to get them to step up their game, they could have easily just turtled, crawled into a shell, and said, you know what, this is going to be a long night, boys. Let's just get through it. We have game two. But they battled back, and scoring that goal to make it 2-1 at the end of the first period, I think really set the tone. Like you said, scoring the goal, 30 seconds, Barbashev into the second period, just deflated all the energy that was in that building after one period. And then soon after that, another 4 minutes later, William Karlsson scores. And then you're like, oh, crap. We're Carolina's could be on the ropes here. They could let this thing go the other direction. I mean, resiliency on their part as well. They battled back. This was one heck of a Stanley Cup final game, and this was only game one. I liked Vegas. Like I said in our preview show, they're a heavy team. They took the body. They out-hit Carolina, and they kind of, weathered the storm, so to speak, in that first period. They got through it and was able to, build a lead, and then kind of played with the lead for most of the second period, and then again into the third, and then rallied back right after Carolina scores to tie it at 4 to get that game winner, Tomas Hertl. Everybody that they needed to have a big game stepped up. We got, Marner with assists, Eichel with assists. The veterans, showed up. I mean, Brett Howden, another goal for him. I mean, he's been outstanding in this playoffs, the entire playoffs up to this point, and nobody's even talked about how well he has played. He picked up a goal and an assist. Yeah.
That was his 11th, right, of these playoffs?
Yeah.
11 goals. That is crazy for him.
Yeah, I was really surprised. I'm not surprised, but it's kind of what I thought Vegas was going to do. They're not a team that's just going to roll over and play dead. They battled. I mean, it's a 60-minute game, and they proved that. Like you said, they made that statement. They got game one. They already put that victory on the road in their pocket. They could store that now. Now, if they could take game two, we're talking about a possible short series in favor of the Golden Knights.
Yeah. That's where you get the beauty of taking game one when you're the road team is all the pressure is now off you of the Vegas Golden Knights, and it is firmly now on the Carolina Hurricanes. And it was part of what we brought up in the preview show on Sunday. Both of these teams, obviously, they had to go through tests to get to this point. Neither of them, even though Carolina went 12-1 through the first 3 rounds, it wasn't like Carolina wasn't tested at any point. Now we're going to see, now the pressure is really on Carolina. Yes, they dropped game 1 against Montreal, but it was pretty easy to just say, well, yeah, they'd had an unprecedented amount of time off between the end of the second round and the beginning of the third round.
Yeah.
There's no excuse like that here. They were up 2-0 late in the first period on that, and they had chances all throughout the game, and they kept allowing Vegas to find a way to get back into it and ultimately win this one. Now the pressure is up. For the first time in these playoffs, the pressure will be on the Hurricanes. How do they respond in game two? A lot of what happened in game one was very uncharacteristic for Carolina, as we'll shift our focus over here over to the Carolina Hurricanes now for a little bit.
Yeah.
They committed a gobsmack of turnovers. I think the official number was 17 turnovers they had last night in game one. That is very, very uncharacteristic of Rod Brind'Amour and this Carolina Hurricanes team. Very undisciplined, very sloppy. Freddie Anderson played well last night. He only made 18 stops. Yes, he gave in 5 goals.
Yeah.
I actually thought he was the better of the 2 goalies last night. I thought Carter Hart really, especially the first 20 minutes, really gave up the breakaway on the first shot. He had another one where he got saved by the post in the first period.
Yeah, he had a post, and then he made that huge save on Logan Stankoven with that breakaway. That would have been 3-0 Carolina 10 minutes into the first period.
Right.
And then, then the wheels may have fallen off in favor of Carolina, but he made the big save. I think Carter Hart played a really good game. He settled in after letting in those 2 early ones.
He did. The final 15 minutes or so last night, Carter Hart was playing his best hockey at the end. To me, Freddie Anderson, though, played a more complete game. The first goal he gave up, that was a deflection off of his defenseman just outside the blue paint. There's nothing he could have done on that. There was a point blank goal one-timer off of a forecheck that, again, there's nothing he could have done. Another breakaway that he gave up. Freddie Anderson, he gave up 5 goals, but there weren't any of them that you said, oh, he's got to have that one. That's one you've got to have that one, Freddie. Come on. He didn't have any of the egregious.
No, not really. I mean, think about the third goal of the game, the one that William Karlsson scored. That Vegas wins an offensive zone. The puck goes behind the net, and Marner, being the magician that he is with the puck, backhand pass. Karlsson's right in the slot, right in front of the net, and there was no defense around him. He had a wide open 4x6 to put that in, and that was a beautiful goal. They really pounded, Carolina. I mean, their forecheck. Vegas counteracted quite well with how everything went. I'm really interested to see, how Carolina responds. This isn't a Montreal team that they're playing after dropping game one.
Exactly.
It's a much better team on the other side.
A much better team, a much more disciplined team on the other, and frankly, a more experienced team on the other side too. A team that this is their 3rd trip to the Cup in 9 years. You've got some of the original misfits still on this team. You along with Jack Eichel and Mitch Marner, guys that don't necessarily have as much pedigree at this stage of the season, but have enough other pedigree throughout that they can get through it. They can carry you. This is a Vegas opponent that you're going to have to earn your win if you're Carolina.
Oh, 100%. And I think it starts tomorrow, game 2. They have to come out to that start and get the early lead. Vegas scores early, and I don't know where this game is going to end up, but I think Carolina needs to set the tone again early. I mean, Seth Jarvis, he had a golden opportunity to bury one, and he, shanked it. I mean, he didn't get good wood on it. The last minute to 30 seconds of that game, I think Jordan Stahl won 4 faceoffs in the offensive zone. Stankoven loses puck. trying to dangle at the blue line. That led to them having to regroup and come back in. They had a couple of chances at the end to make it close. We're in for a doozy of a series here. This is, unless Vegas takes game 2, then I think we're talking about a short series the other way. I don't know. How does Rod Brindamore respond? How does he get his top guys to step up their game? I mean, Aho, Svechnikov, and Jarvis have got to step up. Nikolai Ehlers had a great game, 2 goals. It was good to see him get up there, scoring the first 2 goals of the game. But those other guys have got to really step up their game. We've talked about it pretty much all playoffs long, Adam, that they haven't held up their end of the bargain, being the top line stars that Carolina relies upon.
Yeah, I'm looking at the numbers from the top line. It's Aho, it's Jarvis, and remind me who the third guy is, as it's blanking me off the top of my head for Carolina.
Oh, Svechnikov.
There we go. Thank you, Svechnikov.
Yeah.
Goose egg. Just goose egg all across for all 3 of them. 0 points in this game, and a grand total combined of 5 shots on net between the 3 of them. Jarvis had 3 of them. Aho and Svechnikov each had 1 shot on net in that first game. As we talked about that on Sunday, I thought that Matthew Owens made a great point when we asked him about that from Carolina. He said, we asked him about the lack of production from the top line, and he said it's fine so long as everybody else keeps producing. But as soon as they lose, then it's, hey, why aren't these guys producing? You lost game 1 after you had a 2-0 lead. These guys didn't produce. Now it's a problem. If I'm Brindamore, I wouldn't change very much, though, going into game 2. I would just remind everybody, look, don't be careless with the puck. Just be deliberate, be mindful, be intentional with what you're doing with the puck. Everything else, that was the primary thing to me last night. Carolina was so uncharacteristic with its turnovers. Was that a mirage, or was that Vegas forcing the issue? What was it? Carolina having mental lapses, or did Vegas cause those? That's the question. That's the thing that I don't know, but that's the question I have going into this.
That's a great question, Adam. I think it's a combination of both. I think Vegas, that's what they did to Colorado. They did the same thing to Colorado. They kept their guys off the scoreboard. They're a frustrating team to play against because they're big and they're physical. And yeah, they took Carolina out of their element when this could have been, a blowout for Carolina. Here's a stat, Adam, of all the goals yesterday. So Carolina had the 4 goals. One of them was scored by a defenseman. The other 2, Jordan Stahl and Nikolai Ehlers, all of the assists came from defensemen. No forwards contributed any assist yesterday. Chatfield had 2. Keandre Miller 1. Jacob Slavin 1. And then Gostisbehere's goal was unassisted. So no other forwards got on the score sheet offensively other than Ehlers and the Stahl goal. That's concerning.
That is concerning. Now, some of that, they were taking a decent amount of shots from the blue line, but that is concerning. You've got to have more net front presence. You've got to keep your forwards engaged, keep them involved in the attack. It can't all be blue line in. You've got to have things from the dots. You've got to have things from the slot, from the danger areas. You've got to keep the puck moving there. What was it? I think was it Slavin who had it. So no, it was somebody for Carolina. I forget who had a beautiful opportunity of just taking a shot and instead tried to make the one extra pass,
The pretty
and it
pass,
gets knocked away. Yeah, tried to make the pretty pass. There's a time for tic-tac-toe and there's a time to just put it on. And especially because it was early enough in the game where Carter Hart wasn't locked in yet.
He was still on the ropes.
Take the shot. Take the shot. Recognize when you've got a goalie on the ropes and just take the extra shot. They did that in the first period, out shooting Vegas 12-4. It completely flipped that second period. Vegas pulled a Carolina.
Yeah.
They outshot them 11-5 in the second period. And it was really, I think that in part took the Hurricanes by surprise. They just weren't expecting somebody to kind of play their game back at them.
Carolina also needs to figure out the power play.
Oh, heavens. Yes.
We talked about that with Matthew. You know, that is their Achilles at this point. I mean, 3 chances, and one of them I think was right after it was 2-0 too. So they had that was another chance they had to really stick it to Vegas. And Vegas's PK is solid. They're, like a 95% throughout the playoffs so far.
Yeah.
They're no joke either. But Carolina's struggles continue, and it was clearly evident. They've got to get that thing going. That just one power play goal could maybe, just crack that seal and lead to more. But
you got to get one. It's got to start with one.
You got to get one. You just can't go without,
Yeah.
Buffalo had the same issue in the playoffs. They had a long drought of not getting a power play goal. They finally did. They got a couple, and then it was, then they got cold again. You got special teams has got to be on par and on point this late in these critical games, because every game matters. I mean, they did a good job. They stayed out of the box, only took 2 penalties. So, Vegas only had the 2 power plays. So it was a clean game, officiated, great. I thought it was good. Wes McCauley and Rooney called a very good game. I didn't know how it would go with those 2 guys calling it, but they did a fantastic job. I don't know. I was so high on Carolina, and then watching this one game, it's exactly how I imagined it was going to go, though. I mean, Vegas.
This is now 7 in a row for Vegas. This is between the final 2 against the Ducks in the second round, sweeping the Avalanche, and now taking game 1 against Carolina. This is now 7 consecutive victories for the Golden Knights. They could be absolutely heating up at the best time.
Yeah, they're dangerous.
I said Carolina in 5. I'm not backing away from that yet. I'll wait till Vegas takes the second game, and obviously then I'll be proven wrong. There was for as much as that game last night, as hectic and chaotic and crazy as that game was, I never felt like Carolina was completely out of it, that there was no way Carolina couldn't win it. And it's correctable. The big thing to me is protect the puck if you're Carolina, and that will help so much. Vegas gave the puck away a decent amount as well over that game as well. Vegas, yep. I'm pulling it up. I'm pulling it back up here to get it back up. Vegas had 18 giveaways, and Carolina had 7 takeaways of their own. Vegas wasn't exactly, locking it up and putting the puck away with a key either last night. They were very loose with it. Carolina knows how to take advantage of that. Look at the first goal. That was a just sloppy pass right at the blue line, and Ehlers is off to the races, and Carter Hart isn't all the way locked in, and the next thing you know, it pings off the post, and you're up 1-0 basically to start the game. And that happened. That effectively happened again later on. I would be more willing to say that Carolina cleans things up in game 2 rather than Vegas does in that regard.
They have to, Adam. Because if Carolina doesn't, then okay, here's maybe we'll see you again in another 20 years.
Oh boy.
Yeah. They've got to clean it up because there were some things. I mean, they had some opportunities. I mean, it's a Stanley. You got the jitter. I mean, think about everything involved. You know, the atmosphere, the emotions, all right at its highest. I don't know what their practice was like today, but I hope that Rod got into them and said, "Hey guys, we need to focus, hunker down. We've got to get this game." And I think they can do it. I think they can. I mean, this is just no fluky Carolina. This is a very good Carolina team. If they can somehow, pull out game 2, hey, we got a brand new series. Now it's a best of 5.
Yep.
And then we go to Vegas. Vegas comes away with this. It doesn't look good. I'm just going to say that much.
Yep. It is. All the pressure is now on Carolina going into tomorrow night. This is easily the biggest test for Carolina in this postseason. We will see how the Hurricanes rise to the challenge, and we'll see on the flip side for Vegas, you have nothing to lose, but no matter what happens tomorrow night, mission accomplished, but at the same time, there's blood in the water. Can you close in for the kill in game 2?
Here's a stat, Adam. 76% of the teams that win game 1 in the Stanley Cup final go on to win the Stanley Cup. That's a large percentage. That's how big game 1 is, especially for a team to win game 1 on the road. And we know how crazy it is back at the Fortress at the T-Mobile Arena in Vegas. That place is impossible to win on the road. Crazy. I mean, it was a fantastic game. I loved the colors of this game. You had the Carolina, the black jerseys with the red trim. I think those are so sharp. And then I like Vegas's white uniforms a lot. I can't say so much when this game switches to Vegas because I think it's going to look terrible visually between the two teams. But I think visually it looked outstanding. Everything was great. I didn't watch the ESPN feed. I watched the Canadian Sportsnet feed. How was the broadcast?
Well, the first goal happened so fast that Sean McDonough I'll put it this way. He would like another chance at that call on the first goal. I'll put it that way. In his defense, when you're starting a broadcast, you have certain things that you just have to get out of the way and have to get in there and have to get through. And he got them, but he definitely had not settled in when Ehlers goes on that breakaway, and it took McDonough a minute before he really reacted. And that was a goal. That was the first goal of the Stanley Cup. Oh my goodness, how exciting! It definitely took. He would like another chance at that goal. After that, the broadcast it was all right. It was fine. It wasn't. It was palatable. It was palatable. I'll put it that way. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
So
okay.
It was a fine ESPN broadcast at that point, outside of that first goal.
Okay, that's good to know because I didn't watch it. I'm not a big fan of ESPN's coverage. And
when in doubt, if you've got access to the Sportsnet broadcast, that is always a tremendous broadcast that they do. It is always All right. Okay, I do this a lot, but it's on brand. A perfect the Sportsnet broadcast always just picks things up a beat or three faster than whatever the U.S. broadcast is. Perfect example that I always turn to on this. Let's go back in the Wayback Machine for a moment here. Back into the Blackhawks' glory days, their heydays.
Yep.
When they were in their puck run, there was a game in Anaheim in overtime where Andrew Shaw apparently scored what appeared to be the game-winning goal. And watching the U.S.-based broadcast, the puck went, and this was still in the NBC days. This was still this was still the Doc Emmerich, Eddie Olczyk, that broadcast, that crew. The puck went in, and it took them a couple of replays, and then they realized, oh my goodness, Shaw hit that in off his head. It was the soccer style header. Oh my goodness, how did he do that? Does that count? Is that legal? And they went from there. You watch the Sportsnet broadcast of the exact same play. They hadn't even seen they all of them caught it live and were reacting to it live, and then went to the replay and there's no way this could possibly count. So it's always that Sportsnet broadcast is always they're just so much quicker on everything, and they do a beautiful job of explaining. Yeah, if you have access to it, nothing against the U.S. broadcasts. There's
nothing at all.
Great broadcasts, but the Sportsnet, they always do a tremendous job.
They have a great panel as well in between, like the intermissions and stuff like that. They really, that's their sport. Hockey is what they do. So if you have a chance, flip over to it. I'll probably I'll flip back and forth between tomorrow night. But yeah, Adam. I had Carolina in 6. That's still a possibility. You had them in 5. Still a possibility. Just the odds are not very good for that right now.
They could lose any one of them. They lost the first one. They just decided to raise the bar a little bit.
Yeah.
Difficulty. Decided to go to 00 agent instead of secret agent mode. On it. All right. With that, we are going to take for ourselves a quick little break. We've got more than just the Game 1 reactions for you on the show here tonight. Lots of news and notes from around the NHL and from around the hockey world tonight. We've got some NHL awards have come out already. We've got Coach of the Year to go over. We've got Vancouver has hired its new head coach. We'll go through that. We've got an update to the All-Star Game format. We've got IIHF to go through, and we've even got a little bit of PWHL before we get out of here for you tonight. This is the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. We will be right back after this. IE Sports Radio fans, this show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the iSports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome on back into the Neutral Zone here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Freddie B, Adam Karnik here back with you. So glad that you guys are here with us, whether you're watching across YouTube or Twitter live, or you're watching on iesportsradio.com on the playback, or YouTube on the playback. Thank you for being here with us. We appreciate you taking time out of your week to talk some hockey with us. So we reacted to game one to open up the show, tried to predict what we think might happen in game two tomorrow night. We're going to shift our focus away here, go to the second line a little bit, and let's look at what else is happening in the hockey world. Staying in the NHL, we've got some of the awards have been announced. What awards have come out already, Freddie?
Well, Zach Werenski was announced winner of the Norris Trophy. Second place was Cale Makar, and then Rasmus Dahlin finished third. No problems at all with Werenski winning this. I think it's been long deserved for him with this award. He's had a fantastic career with Columbus. However, my vote this year probably would have been Rasmus Dahlin, just for the simple fact of what he did in Buffalo's resurgence in this epic turn, just change of events that led to them, being making the playoffs and winning the Atlantic Division as well. I thought maybe he could have won the award, but I have no problems with Zach Werenski. Congratulations, Team USA player right there. Good on him. I've always loved that kid. He's just a really great kid and a great defenseman. A great future with Columbus. And then the second award, the Jack Adams Trophy, was announced as well. John Cooper, the Tampa Bay Lightning, he wins that for the first time. We talked about him possibly winning it maybe halfway through the season when Tampa Bay was on that really good run of that 20-game stretch that they were on. I didn't think that he was going to be in consideration after the way that Tampa Bay season ended, but congratulations to him. Well deserved. I mean, Lindy Ruff was also another one I think that could have been up there as well. So yeah, no, those were the two awards so far. We still have more to come. Matthew Schaefer, unanimously won the Calder a couple of weeks ago. So those are the three awards so far that have been given out in the NHL. Adam, what are your thoughts?
Well, I was going to ask you, so looking through the entire standings for the Norris, and there's a name that might be a little surprising that didn't receive any votes. Jacob Sherkran of the Capitals. He led all defensivemen in goals this year in the NHL, but did not receive any votes for the Norris. Is that any kind of anything for you there? I mean, I'm gonna pull the full list back
Not
up here.
not really. Not really for Chickering. I mean, he had a great season, and he took over especially after John Carlson was dealt to the Ducks. Um, he was their number one defenseman, and helped propel Washington to almost getting into the playoffs. Another guy, who had a really good season offensively was Evan Bouchard in Edmonton. But I don't think that he had a sniff at it, although he had just a fantastic offensive season up there.
Quinn Hughes was another one that maybe could have garnered some more consideration, but I mean, we're being nitpicky at that point. Werenski had an excellent season, definitely deserving of the reward for Columbus. Cale Makar also just a heck of a year.
Yep.
It's hard to argue with those guys being 1 and 2 overall on the list.
Yeah, it's so loaded with defensemen, especially in the Central Division there with Makar and Heiskanen and Hughes and Yossi. There's so many great defensemen.
Tons and tons of good defensemen all throughout. But yeah, the Central Division, in a lot of ways, in so many other places, the Central Division is just stacked. So the NHL also recently announced that they're making some changes to the All-Star Game format. They have constantly been tinkering with this thing for years.
Yep.
And remember they had all right, we're going to have the 4 divisions play a round robin 20-minute tournament, and you have the shootout competitions and this, that, and the other thing. What have we got going on now with the All-Star Game format?
Did you want to pull that up there, Adam? There
Yeah.
You go. So now it's going to be a 3-on-3 tournament featuring 5 teams based on country of origin. So you got the United States, Canada, Sweden, Finland, and then the rest of the world. So it'll be like Czechia, Switzerland, Germany. Will Russia players be part of this? So I hope that they are. They have been allowed and granted to play international again. I think this is a cool format. I like this a lot, especially after how great the 4 Nations was, how amazing it was to have NHLers back in the Olympics, and then to do this format. We're going to have the World Championships coming up as well. They're really focusing on the international game. I like that. So, yeah, it's going to be a fan vote, 8 players for each team. I think it'll be add a little bit to it. It's not like the old games when it was just, East versus West or Wales versus Campbell's conference. I think they need to stay fresh. They need to keep it going. I like it. It's, EA Sports NHL, the video game has done 3-on-3 over the last couple of years as one of their gameplay modes, and that's probably the most played mode in it. So I like it. It opens up the ice. We'll have some really cool games, a lot of scoring. Should be fun. They also changed, I think, the skills competition as well.
Yeah, the skills competition here. 10 stars participate. Everybody is a youngster, all 25 and under. Your Macklin Celebrinis, your Connor Bedards, your McTavish. Those are the guys we're wanting in here. You're not going to be having the Vanguard. You're not going to be having Alex Ovechkin or Sidney Crosby or any of those. These are all the young kids. Fastest skater, hardest shot, stick handling. These are the skills, it's the eye candy. It's the fun stuff. This is All-Star Games should basically be in my mind, they should be celebrations of the sport and celebrations of the years that everybody's having. These are where everybody just gets a chance to have some fun, lay back, don't get hurt. Just don't get hurt. In any of these things.
Of all the all-star games of professional sports, I think the NHL's that's always been my favorite, especially the skills competition. I think that's always outstanding to see these guys, how hard they could shoot the puck, the accuracy, the speed, all the cool little things that they do. And then they incorporate, some new features and stuff like that to it. I think it's gonna be great. Keep it with the youth there, because those guys are the skilled players, and for them to participate in this is outstanding. They may not make the all-star team, but this gives them an opportunity to be recognized for their skill and be on that national stage. So I love this format. I think it's going to be really neat.
And you always want to, as a league, it's always very important to make sure that you're showcasing the rising talent, the up and coming, because those are the players that you're hoping to help sell the league for the next 5, 7, 8, 10 plus, especially in a sport like hockey, where it's not uncommon to see guys play well into their 30s, some even into their 40s, to have people that can be familiar names for a decade plus. You want to be doing that. I would love to, just maybe this is because I'm starting to become old myself. I would love to see something like the stick handling. The stick handling is always so much fun. Oh my gosh, the handles that all these players can do. But I'd love to see like you watch the young guys go through and do this, and then just have like
the old vets,
an old vet who comes in. All right, kid. Now let me show you how it's done. Let me show you how it's done after have like you found the winner, and now, you think you're good at handling? Okay, Patrick Kane's going to come out. Now let's see if you can handle as well as him. Or let's see if you can shoot as hard as Ovechkin. Something like that. Just I think spice it up.
That would be cool if they could just add that little wrinkle to it. Let's see how, and then, you've got the old guys like, this is 25 and under, but then you have the guys, 30 and above or whatever it is, or 25 and older. I think that'd be really cool. Then they can go head to head. You get the top two from each, and then they end up battling to see who is the ultimate skills competition winner. I think it's great.
Especially because you just know that somehow Ovechkin would wind up out there with a beer in one hand and his stick in the other.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But going back to the All-Star game for just a moment, when I was looking at this, you brought up Russia. As soon as I saw rest of the world, that was instantaneously what came to mind for me. Was they're doing it that way in part to make sure that the Russian players have a way to be involved in this. That was, if there was one drawback to the Four Nations tournament, which I understand why they don't do that every year, but oh man, that was so, I want to see that more frequently than once every 4 years. I'd be okay with them doing that 2 out of every 4 years, have that be a little bit more frequent. But if there was a drawback to that, it was you couldn't have a Russian team. I understand. All the politics at play there. I agree with them. I understand all that. I'm not arguing against that. But it is unfortunate for the players that they get caught up in that they can't participate in something like that. So to have a rest of the world category, excellent, because then you do get your get your opportunity for Ovechkin or for
like Kucherov or somebody,
Kucherov, or the Red Wings winger. Yep, it's gone. That's okay. It's fine. But you also, Leon Draisaitl out of Germany, or Tomas Hertl. He wouldn't be able to participate in this, so you'd be able to get him in there. Things like that. It's having that rest of the world is perfect. Nice catch-all by the NHL to
I'm glad
one
finally.
Yeah, that one little gap there, if you will, from the Four Nations format. There, if there was an issue with that format, that was That was
Yeah,
definitely
because
what it was.
we missed what could have been an incredible, even a better Olympics had Russia been a part of it with Ovechkin. Because the NHL had been out for 8 years prior. To see those guys, they would have been fun to watch out there. But I think it's cool. It's the way to get it going. I mean, we don't have much time left with number 8, so um,
Hmm.
let's get him into this thing and have him dominate.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to stick with the NHL here for a moment. Sir, you get to take
Uh-huh.
yourself a little bit of a victory lap because
Woo!
the Vancouver Canucks, well, they took your advice a couple weeks ago when
Somebody did, yeah.
they created the head coaching vacancy. You were right there at the time saying, bring in Manny Malhotra. Well, guess what? Yesterday afternoon, the Vancouver Canucks made it official. Manny Malhotra, the 46-year-old who has spent time with the Canucks as a player, he has spent the last couple years in their organization at the American Hockey League level. He has now been promoted and will be the head coach of the Vancouver Canucks starting this fall.
I think that's a great decision. Keep it in-house. He was coaching Abbotsford, like you mentioned, in the AHL. Biggest question now comes at him at the draft. They're selecting number 3. You have his son, Caleb Malhotra, which is projected to go number 3. But then you also have the Sedin twins that are now running this front office as well. Maybe they want to go with a Swede and Ivar Stenberg. Steal them away from your Blackhawks. That's good. Now the debate is which of those 2 players do they decide to choose in the draft. I think it's great. I love to see if it is a father-son combination. I think that's really cool. But yeah, good on the Canucks. Like I said, they're an up-and-coming team. They're not going to win the Stanley Cup. They may not even make the playoffs next year, or maybe but they are going in the right direction. They've got youth. They've got a brand new front office, and I think things are trending in the right direction for Vancouver. So in the next 3 to 4 years or so, they're going to be right back in the mix. And if they can, make the right moves, sell off some of the contracts that they have, bring in some other guys, this could be an exciting team to watch and keep a focus on as we go over the next couple of seasons.
Yeah, it's going to be.
It's a work in
progress.
It's going to be
a long road.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, a work in progress. That's absolutely what it's going to be. But also by bringing in Malhotra, that's going to help with consistency. You're not going to be having as drastic of a shift in strategies and philosophies in, hey, here's how we do the forecheck. Here's how we run a power play. Hey, here's how we do these things. It's going to be coming up from, it's the same thing we're going to be doing in the AHL. Now we're going to be bringing it up to the NHL level, make it be as easy and smooth and consistent as possible for these guys so that you could get the most out of them as quickly as possible. It doesn't guarantee success, but you'll at least get answers to questions faster.
Sometimes bringing in everybody who's friends and buddies with each other and who have all been teammates, it doesn't always go great. We saw that here in LA. Luke Robitaille, Rob Blake, everybody else, that was all part of that group of guys, didn't turn out too well. Now they're talking about their head coaching situation. I think it's coming down to 2 players. Either they're going to re-sign and make DJ Smith permanent, or Jay Woodcroft, who was the assistant coach at Anaheim last year. So if I had to choose between the 2, bring me Jay Woodcroft. He's had a great success over his career. He was kind of that, he kind of started what was happening in Edmonton before he was fired there. So I think, he's coached for a Ken Holland run team as well. So I think that is where the Kings are going to go. I hope that's where they go if they're not going to land somebody like Cassidy.
Yeah, and we'll see. Obviously, we've got during the Stanley Cup, I would be surprised if we see any hirings while the Stanley Cup is still going on. That's kind of become the norm for the NHL and frankly all the other leagues. It's look, when the championship is going on, give that its space. You can make the talks.
He still has the best quote. I'm good enough to be fired, but I'm not good enough to be hired.
Hey, every coach gets hired to get fired. That's every coach's future eventually down the line. It's just a matter of when, how long can you outlast and outrun that eventual firing. So we were talking about Worlds last week, the World Championships at the IIHF level. We had a championship happen over the weekend, and we had a little bit of an upset too at the bronze medal. We'll start with the gold medal game, though. Finland defeating host Switzerland in overtime on Saturday. Finland winning the game 1-0. Yep. A shutout through regulation before finally the lone goal getting scored at the end. Konsta Helenius getting the lone goal in overtime to give Finland the world championship.
Yeah, what an impact he made for that team in Finland after Buffalo was eliminated from the playoffs. He made it over to Switzerland, got to play a few of the games, and then he ends up scoring the biggest goal of them all, the overtime game winner. Beautiful goal as well. So great on Finland. They were not one of my picks to win the whole thing. I thought, honestly, when it came down to the play and everything, I thought we were going to see a Canada Switzerland gold medal final. Canada ended up losing to Finland, and then they lose in the bronze medal game to Norway. So
yeah, that's
a little shocking.
That was very shocking there. In the bronze medal game, Norway upsetting Canada 3-2 and getting the win there. The winning goal, Noah Steen getting the winning goal there for Norway, and that one even ice as well. Not a power play or anything like that, but Noah Steen getting the winning goal. Canada, I mean, anytime we have an international tournament, Canada is always kind of an automatic, oh yeah, well, of course, Canada, you're going to put them right near the top. But with this going on the same time as the Stanley Cup playoffs, that's going to cut into some of their, that's going to affect the U.S. and Canada's depth more than some of the other nations.
True. Yeah. Canada did have some pretty good players. Macklin Celebrini had a great tournament. Sidney Crosby up there playing with them as well. Ryan O'Reilly, Evan Bouchard. Evan Bouchard was playing until he was knocked out by a hit to the head, which prevented him from continuing through but that's 3 world championships in a row that Canada has failed to medal. They lost, they came in 4th place in 24, lost in the quarters in 25, and then another 4th place finish here in 26. Obviously, it's not the Olympics, but without medaling for 3 straight world championships is something that Canada is not accustomed to.
No, not accustomed to in the slightest, and that's going to sting with Team Canada and all the guys there. That is absolutely going to sting and burn on them for a bit, but. We'll see what they do. We'll see how they go and what they do from there. One last one real quick, and then we're gonna wrap it up here for tonight's tonight's show, at least. Over in the PWHL, we've been talking about their off season as they're getting ready. They've had, of course, the four new teams getting added and everything going on there, as I'm trying to also play with my color scheme here, so apologize while I'm vamping for time here. There we go. There we go. We get that moved around there a little bit. We talked last week about their extensive expansion process that they're going through, ultimately 6 stages from the start of the offseason through the draft and free agency. Well, phase 1 has ended. Phase 1 was each of the 8 teams already in the league had until today to select their three players on each of their roster that they were going to protect, and they have made their selections. They've made their picks. We'll go through them kind of quickly. We'll start with Montreal. No surprises here. The goalie Anne Renee Desbiens, she's safe. Marie-Philippe Poulin, she's safe. Laura Stacey, another forward, she's safe. No shockers there. No surprises there. Boston, Aaron Frankel. Gee, what a shock there that they're gonna protect their
gotta lock in that goalie.
Yep, their goalie. Megan Keller, one of the stars of Team USA in the Olympics. She's safe with Boston. Another D-man, Haley Wynn, also safe there with Boston. Ottawa, they finished runner-up for the second year in a row. They protected Rebecca Leslie. Their goalie, Gwyneth Phillips, they also protected. And then defenseman Ranja Salvalanian was protected as well. The Minnesota Frost, they protected Taylor Heisey and Kaylee Panic. No big surprises. They're 2 of the best goal scorers in the PWHL. They stayed safe. And then they've also protected their goalie, Maddie Rooney.
Mm-hmm.
Their goaltending has always been kind of middle of the road there in Minnesota, but they like Rooney. They don't want to expose her to possibly getting picked up. It makes sense. New York, the Sirens, they protected Sarah Fillier, Kristia Kalkanikova, and then Casey O'Brien, all forwards getting saved there. Toronto chose to save their goalie, Reagan Kirk, and then 2 of their defensemen, Renata Fast and Ella Shelton. The Golden Eyes protected Sophie Jacques, Emerence Maxmeyer, and then forward Sarah Nurse. She actually signed, so she is protected. And then lastly, the Seattle Torrent decided to protect Alex Carpenter, signed her to a deal. Anna Wilgren, the defenseman, and then goalie Hannah Murphy got saved there for Seattle. So
really no surprises.
Not any huge shockers of the surprises.
Maybe New York not keeping a goalie, so they're gonna rebuild and choose a goalie.
Yeah, there's some excellent goalies coming up in this draft, including one that very well could go in the first round, very close to where New York should be. Is going to be picking. We're going to find out how they arrange the draft. That's still TBD a little bit there. All we know is that we know who number 1 is. After that, they haven't really said. The next phase 2, that starts here coming up on Friday. It runs Friday through to Monday, will be the expansion player distribution process. That is where the expansion teams select the unprotected players that they want to pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Each of the 8 existing teams at most can lose 3 players from their existing roster. So that is the next phase of the expansion teams. They now have basically the extended weekend to put together their lists of who they'd like to make an offer to, who they'd like to reach out to and potentially sign. We'll see who winds up moving here over the weekend.
Yeah, exciting. I like the way that they broke it down into all the phases, a little bit every couple of days, and by the time you know it, we'll be talking the draft, Adam.
We are. We're gonna be talking draft here. Actually, that'll probably be part of next week's episode, as a matter of fact, because the draft is 2 weeks from tonight. So we'll probably do a little bit of a preview of the PWHL draft next week, as a matter of fact. So that is going to do it for our show here this evening. Want to say once again, thank you, of course, to our sponsors, Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet. Go to planetjerky.net to place your order. And also, of course, thank you to Vital Apparel, the brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Go to vitalapparel.com to place your order. Use promo code IESR at checkout, and you get 15% off of your order. Thank you to everybody that was watching live tonight across YouTube and Twitter. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you also to Brian Francione for hanging out in the chat room with us a little bit tonight. Next week, we'll have had a couple of more games have gone down. We'll have had games 2, 3, and 4 to react to this time next week. So we'll have a lot more on this series. Are we going to be talking a wrap-up series next? Are we going to be talking wrap-up at this point? Or
I hope not.
I think we'll still be going. I think we'll still have a series to go on. I doubt very much that Vegas wraps this up in a sweep and gets the brooms out. But we'll have the next 3 games in the series to break down and highlight and go through. We'll have PWHL draft to preview and talk about, and there's going to be more things coming out in the NHL that we'll have to talk about as well. We'll see what other awards get announced between now and then, and there's always things to talk about in the hockey world. Until then, he is Freddie B. I'm Adam Karnik. Together, we are the Neutral Zone. On behalf of IE Sports Radio, everybody have a fantastic week. We will see you next time.
Good night.
Is the only sound. From the grace of the speed to the crushing weight, in the blink of an eye we decide our fate. The ice is a battle where the iron reigns. We're breaking the surface and we're breaking chains. The silver cup, where the minor league hungry are stepping up. The college ice is burning in the freeze, and the women of the league bringing giants to their knees. The juniors, the legends, the global stage.